I know it seems absolutely criminal that I'm crying over a guy that I've known less than 2 weeks, and it is criminal. I have even tried to gaslight myself into thinking that I don't need to be sad over a guy that has been in my life for literally such a short period of time.
Women.
Gentlemen and ladies, welcome back to the channel. A lot of female viewers lately, a lot of ladies writing comments saying, hey, we watched the show too. So that's great. I'll say ladies and gentlemen from now on because I appreciate my female viewers as well. I am glad that all of you guys are enjoying the content, commenting down below, being part of it. So today, this is the whole video. It's this one woman. She does a very long rant about her mistakes. And we're going to use this example to go deep into the mind of women, to try and understand them, to try and see the reasons as to why they do certain behaviors. So embrace this journey with me and Ampu, gentlemen. Crack a cold one open or something, and let's see what we can find out about women.
I don't even know how to start this video or what I'm going to say, but I know that I need to get back to filming, so that is why the camera is rolling. Okay, well, my light died, but I am gonna film anyway because I have my vanity light on and the lighting isn't terrible. So I know it seems absolutely criminal that I'm crying over a guy that I've known less than 2 weeks, and it is criminal. I have even tried to gaslight myself into thinking that I don't need to be sad over a guy that has been in my life for literally such a short period of time. But my friend, I FaceTimed her last night, and she's known like everything that's gone on and has been a part of this whole journey. Like, I tell her everything. She's my best friend. She was like, Stevie, if you need to cry, like, you have to let yourself cry. And I was like, yeah, but it just seems so silly. Like, how am I crying over a guy that like I've known for such a short period of time?
You know, guys, since I was very little, I was just interested in the way women think because I noticed it was different and I noticed it was complex and strange and difficult. So I've spent a lot of time trying to understand it. And you know what? I've never been able to fully understand women to a point where I can say that I just understand women as a whole. But, you know, looking back through history, nobody has understood women. Have the best physicians, the best, you know, just conquerors and strategists and extremely wise and intelligent people. They didn't understand women also. And you know what's the best part? Is that women, they don't understand women also. It's like nobody understands women, not even themselves. So we have this woman here that we are, you know, trying to see her pattern of behaviors, trying to understand why she does things. And the best part is she doesn't know either. It's like nobody knows. But still, let's continue watching, guys.
She was like, yeah, but like, he did give you false hope at the end of the day. Honestly, I wouldn't even call it false hope. I think everybody was right, or a lot of people were right. I think he's just scared of commitment, but that doesn't mean that it makes any of this easier. We had talked about going on dates in the future, and like when we first started FaceTiming, we talked about like pursuing each other and just like the expectations we had. Hinge and his dating goals were literally long-term relationship, open to short. The first time we met up, it was just to hang out, and then I went out of town, and then he was gonna pick me up from the airport, and like he literally was like, I'll pick you up from the airport, like it's not a big deal, I really want to see you, I want to spend time with you, blah blah blah. Anyways, I say all of this because I think it makes it harder when you're told all this stuff that's gonna happen. And
yeah, so in other words, I think that this woman doesn't really like being so active in the relationship because men are the ones who are supposed to be active and make plans and schedule things and just take the lead, be decisive, you know. And women, they have grown accustomed to, and it's part of their nature to just, you know, just overall sit down and say nothing and do nothing, and the man does everything there is to, you know, in regards to the game, the flirting and all those things. But notice how in this situation, the woman is pulling the same weight as the man. They're both trying to make it work. They're both making plans. They're both talking about the future of the relationship. Women do not like that. Men are much more emotionally stable. They are much more decisive. They have a better vision. And this is why women like to, they feel secure when men plan ahead, when men do those things. And it's quite interesting because when you give women that, I mean, the average woman, not all of them, but the average one, if you give her that, if you give her the security, the commitment, the plans for the future, she's going to call you boring. She's going to be uninteresting. She's going to flee. Yet when you don't give her that, when you are emotionally unavailable, when you withdraw, she chases after. And it's toxic because she doesn't like to do that, yet it's the only thing she's interested in, right? She literally likes what she dislikes. It's toxic. It's unreasonable. But this is what they do, and this is why they never feel fully well in that relationship with Chad. I mean, they whine about it all day, yet they still stay in it. You can see it's like the total impossible concept to understand. They do and like, but they don't like to do and they dislike. But now let's continue.
I wouldn't even say it was love bombing because he didn't make all these great big grand gestures that made me think that like we were going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's the other thing that like is super, super upsetting is I never once was the one that was like, I need commitment. I need to know what we are. We have to put a label on this stuff. So when we hung out and he was like, I just want you to know, like, I'm not in it for a long-term thing. I was like, okay, I never asked for it to be a long-term.
Now that's an important fact because a lot of the times women on my channel will whine, he led me on, he manipulated me, he lied to me, when in reality, most guys just straight up say, I'm not interested in the long term. I mean, they literally say it with their mouths. They say the words, I'm not interested. Yet these women are somehow confused when when things don't work out.
Thing, like, I was fine doing what we were doing. And he even said that. He was like,
Yeah, that's what all men want. I mean, picture this. You're getting to know a woman. You know her for a couple of months. You want her to be your wife. You love her. And she tells you, when I was younger, and still to this day, I don't know what I want. I just don't care. I don't care where things go. They could either go to marriage, they could either go to a 2-year-old situationship. I don't care. Whatever comes next, Like, what man would feel secure and would feel stable in a relationship where the woman has had this mindset of, I don't care where this is going. I just don't care. I don't mind that we don't have a label. I don't mind securing the commitment up front. I don't mind the consequences. I mean, she's literally crying about the consequences. But back on the day, she said, I don't care about the consequences. I don't want to put a label on this. Let's do whatever. And now she's crying about the consequences. It's just mind-boggling how lost these women are.
I shouldn't have said anything. We could have just like let this keep going. And I was like, I mean, I'm glad you said something because now I know like where your head is at. But you're right. Like if you hadn't had said something, I would have been perfectly fine. My number one fear is commitment. Well, after rejection. But like one of my biggest fears is commitment. So
that's a huge
in no
red flag.
way, shape, or form was I sitting there like, oh yeah, we're committed. Like I was still swiping on dating apps and I don't even know if he was swiping on dating apps at that point. And it was just like this huge flip happened after we hung out and it was crazy. Like it came out of nowhere. And after we talked, he was like, I shouldn't have said anything. Like, I think we literally slept over the night after we talked.
Guys, I'm gonna pause it for a minute. This woman is full of red flags, just so many. But the thing is, I think this woman is American, right? Even though we can clearly see she's from Asian descent. And this shows you that the problem with women is not modern women, I'll say, is not a problem with the gender of women. It's not a problem of race or of age. It's just a problem of mindset. And women in America, because of their mindset, because of the cultural expectations and the surroundings and everything. Women in the West, not only in the USA, but in the West, they just suck at dating. They're just bad options. Women in Asia, I would say, are much better than women in the West. But you can clearly see that just moving on to America and being raised there and being raised in this situation and being raised with such values is what leads to women being lost, being terrible at dating, being extremely bad options for something serious, right? I mean, this is why you could not apply all things we say on this channel to most of the countries on the eastern side, but women on the West. If you apply these rules just as a general rule of thumb, you're going to be correct in most of the cases.
Which was a dumb decision on my part, but I was tired. We talked till like 3 a.m. and so I just like went to sleep. And that morning we woke up and he...
Before she continues, just notice the efforts, gentlemen. She chases him around. She has these 4-hour-long conversations trying to fix things. The guy's not doing anything. The guy tells her, I don't want this to be long term. We either smash or pass. I don't care about you. And she's chasing after, no, please, let's talk about it. Let's just stay together. I don't even care if we call ourselves a relationship. Just please pay me attention. I need that validation, right? On the other hand, you have guys who are willing to tell to this woman, I'm gonna sacrifice my life for you. I will provide for you. I will spend my time for you. I will try to make you happy. I will be there for the long run. I will do all those things for you. You're the only one in the world for me. And she says, you're just one of many. I don't care. You don't have a six-pack. Go F yourself, right? It's like, what is the incentive for men in the West to date when the vast majority of women are like this? It's like the opposite. You have to do what is morally and psychologically insane and bad in order for them to like you. You have to be the opposite of what your parents have taught you you have to be.
He was like cuddling. He was like, I know that I said a lot of stuff last night. And I was like, just don't say anything else. Like, I know what I need to know. And this is just going to be the last time we hang out. And I said that last night. Like, I said that the night we talked too. I said, this is going to be the last time we hang out. Like, I just can't do that. And he was like, no, like, why can't we just be friends with extra benefits is what he called it.
Yeah, you see what he cares about, guys. He just doesn't care about anything else. And the moment she says, I can't do this anymore, which of course she can. She's been doing it for so long, of course she can. The guy says, well, but you mean to tell me we're gonna stop effing around? That's the only thing he cares about. And if she said yes, then he would say, okay, bye. I'm gonna find me someone else. Guys, it's like, as I mentioned in my last commentary, you have to do what these women think is an a-hole. They will say, I want a gentleman. I want a man who does this and that. No, they like an a-hole. They like a man who cares only about the effing around because they find him more interesting. Why? I still don't know. I cannot explain to myself. My brain cannot fit the information as to why these women are chasing such a bad thing, and harming themselves in the process. I cannot understand it. But guys, in my opinion, and leave me your comments below, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Being an a-hole is the easy path. You don't have to pay for dates. You don't have to care about them. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be egocentrical and care only about satisfying what's between your legs. That is what these women like. But don't do that. It's just not worth it. You can do that. It's the easy path out. But in the long run, you're just going to be spending your time having fun with these ladies, just smashing them. But it's not really... It doesn't bring satisfaction. Like, they're the cheapest stock. It's so easy nowadays. If you happen to have the looks to mess around, it's so easy that these women are honestly not worth it. They're not worth your time. I will give this advice, gentlemen, and I don't like to say that because I don't want to be bossing around people and telling them what to do. But in my humble opinion, be a man with self-respect. Chase things that are worth. It's much more worth it to find that one woman out of 1,000 that will actually value your personality, your commitment, your time, that you can raise a family with. That is much more valuable than having 1,000 of these women that are just like NPCs. They are all the same. They chase after the same validation. They look the same in a lot of the cases. They put on all this fake up. It's just not worth it. For me personally, guys, it's better to be single than to be smashing around these women. They're just not worth it. They're not exciting. They're not interesting. They are plain boring. And they are, in essence, if you think about it, they are just an upgrade to S3X dolls. It's all they are. They are a toy for satisfaction. It's the way they want to be treated. It's the way men see them. And, you know, for me, they're just not interested. But leave me your opinion down below, guys.
Friends with extra benefits. So literally calling it friends with extra benefits so we can have basically all the things that a relationship does without having a relationship. And like I said, I never asked for it to be a relationship. I would have been perfectly fine with it being like, we just see where things go and we like talk.
Look how the things she says don't match to reality. She says, I don't care if this is a relationship. I don't care seeing where it goes. What do you mean you don't care see where it goes? You see where it's going. He just wants to have fun, yet that doesn't suit you, which is why you said, I can't do this anymore. So which is it? Are you afraid of commitment, or are you actively chasing commitment? She doesn't feel well when it's not committed, but she's afraid of commitment. Like, guys, trying to make sense of women is like going through a labyrinth. You know, what seems like a path, a logical path, will end up being a closed street, you know. They don't even understand themselves. This woman is not understanding the fallacy of what she's saying. It's so hard, man, trying to understand them.
He called me drunk like a week ago probably, and we were talking and he was like being super needy and clingy and all this stuff. And his friend walks outside and his friend is like, oh, hi, blah, blah, blah's girlfriend. I was like, so you're telling your friends about us? And this was like before I had even said like anything about exclusivity, about...
How dare you talk about your friends, about me? I can speak to the whole internet about you, but you don't get to do that, damn it.
About dating, about titling, whatever we had. Like, I am the most low maintenance person. And I was like, okay, so what about your friend being like, hey girlfriend? And he was like, you can't trust anything that either one of us says drunk. I was like, clearly not. Apparently I can't trust anything that he said sober either, because he talked about going on dates and he was like, you know, I actually like, I never really wanted to do that like holiday and like stuff, but I would send him like haunted houses and just like fun things to do. And he would be like, but I want to do them with you, which I guess that could be seen as a level of love bombing, but I didn't think about it in the moment because like I would go to the haunted house with my guy best friend. It's not like that's a date. Also would like to throw it out there that I was not the one calling these things dates. He was the one when I got home from being on a business trip that was like, oh, I can pick you up from the airport before our date. Okay, so I'm literally not crazy. Like, this stuff happened, but I feel crazy because everything he said the other night was like, never wanted a relationship, always thought this was gonna be like a short-term thing. What? And what the fuck is friends with extra benefits? Like, let's just talk about that.
Guys, just a little more rambling. I don't comment this because there's nothing to comment. It's just a bunch of words that mean nothing, and they amount to I am confused. That's it. The last minute of her talking is I am confused, right? But just 30 seconds more. I'm gonna play it all just if anyone is interested to see what she has to say, and afterwards, gentlemen, let's have a discussion. But now let's end this.
What is that? You literally want to be in a relationship without having the relationship title? Like, I could do that too.
How does this woman not get it? He doesn't want to be in a relationship because he doesn't care about you. He just wants to use you when he has some free time or is bored, which is what you're doing as well. I mean, I'm not trying to paint him any way worse than you are. You also use him just for different reasons. You want attention and validation because without them you feel empty because you have no personality or morals or, you know, any sort of backbone. So you're just using each other for different reasons, which is what hookup culture amounts to.
I call that a situationship, but you didn't want to do that either, so I don't know what you want. can't please everybody, don't know how to make it so that you understand that I was not the one who wanted a relationship first. Yet here I am. I'm the one that got hurt. I changed his contact name. I'm not hanging out with him anymore. And good luck to him on the next chapter of life, because it's...
Yeah, well, here enters the TikTok. And guys, you know why women are the ones who always get hurt? Men don't get hurt in situationships, never. Because right from the get-go, they know it's just effing around. Women still know this, yet they get hurt. Because women are much more emotional than men. And I'm not even talking about just the emotional outcome of the ending of the situationship. No, I'm talking about when two people have S3X, women take it in a much more emotional and deep level than men. Men, look, S3X is emotional by nature. You cannot have just S3X without having any sort of emotions and without attaching yourself in a certain way to the other person. But women are just much more attached and get much more attached to the other person when there is this intercourse exchange. And look, you could say that, but Hiran, if you hire a street worker, you're meaning to tell me that you still have an emotional attachment? Yes, always, even if it's a little, but there always is, because everything we do, we attach ourselves to it. When you spend time with someone, this is how love emerges in the first place. This is how you get relationships. You spend time with a person, talk with him, you share your mind, you learn about his feelings, you laugh together, you cry together. All of this is attaching yourself to someone else. And even from a biological point, when a person hugs you, your brain releases different chemicals. When you get kissed, when someone caresses you, like from a biological point, there are many studies that explain how our body reacts to physical attachments. So S3X contains a lot of that, right? Also from an emotional point of view, there are also many studies on how people react and how their brains and their perception of someone changes when you spend a lot of time together, when you know each other, when you talk, etc. From a psychological point even, like everything points at the fact that you can't have S3X without attaching yourself to someone else. And men do this, but women do this at a high level. So this is why one of the biggest red flags for men when it comes to dating is a woman that has slept with a lot of people, because she has left a piece of herself on each of Chad's arms, right? She has no pair bonding ability. She has been with so many dudes. There are even statistics you can check out how much the divorce rates increase after the third or fourth body count, It's like they increase from virgin to 1, 2, 3, 4, they increase by a little. From 4 onwards, like everything that is more than 4, divorce rates just increase drastically. And there are a lot of reasons to explain this. But guys, now, before we end the video, I'd like to end on some thoughts. And I'm going to put some gameplay that I know you have watched this a few times already. I'm going to change it for next one. But here's the thing. I remember, guys, when I was younger, I used to have this female friend that we will talk. I remember that, she was really innocent. She was a virgin up until 16 or so. Like, she was really innocent. And at some point, she started doing all this with men. She started being S3 actually active. And she told me that her father learned about that. And I told her, wow, how did he react? And she told me, well, he told me to use protection. And I was so shocked at this point. I was like, really? Is that everything he told you? He didn't tell you anything more? He didn't care about anything more? Just use protection? It's literally what a stranger on the street will do. I mean, go to a random stranger on the street, tell him, hey, I started having S3X, and he's probably going to tell you, well, use protection. You are her father, and you literally gave the advice of use protection. Nothing more. It's absolutely bad parenting, guys. And look, a traditional parent, it's not about beating your kids with a belt. It's just about having a conversation with them, because kids are not stupid. Yes, they are naive, they are green in a lot of aspects, they don't know, but they're not stupid. And when you have a kid who is already 16 and is, naturally, as it should be, starting to learn about sex, starting to be interested in all this, It's the moment to have a conversation with him and explain him all there is to S3X. Tell him, look, it's something that is highly emotional. It is something that can make or break your life. S3X often leads to kids or a family. Is what bounds a family. That's one of the main pillars of a family, that they have S3X, two people, right? It's not common for a family to have S3X with other people, right? So it's like, why don't you have all these conversations with your kid? Just be a good parent and tell that woman the dangers, tell her what men are good, what men are bad, what men just want to use her, tell her a little about the future. What do you want in the future? Do you want to be a person with a high body count, a low body count? Tell her how that affects pair bonding ability, explain her all of that, talk about that, not just say use protection. Yes, you can use protection, good job, you're not gonna have a baby. Let me tell you, you're not gonna have a husband either, because men don't want to date women who have high body counts. And this woman, guys, that I'm talking about, that she used to be virgin up until 16 or 17 or something like this, and she was really innocent, like she was extremely innocent. Now, like a couple of years later, she has already been through multiple situationships. She has already a body count in the double digits. And like every time I talk with her, which we talk every 3 to 4 months, every time she has a new boyfriend or situationship. Just every time. She's had like 15 to 20 boyfriends and situationships and whatever crap not already. It's like she went from an innocent woman that a lot of men will appreciate to being one of the many, just a street worker, a street worker apprentice. She's one of them all. And this is why it's so important to not only have good parents, but also have an appropriate mindset. And the appropriate mindset is S3X is not something to be taken lightly. It's something that leads to family and kids, which are undoubtedly, for me, the two most important things in life that make you feel fulfilled. It's not about work, it's not about money, it's not about friends, it's family and kids, right? And S3X is like the first level of that, or something that accompanies that, if I could say so. It's so important, and modern women are just growing with this mindset that is, yes, highly influenced by parenting, by the culture, by the year we live in, but is mostly dependent on yourself. You are the one who ends up taking the shots. You are the one who ends up deciding this. But all women are growing with this, guys, and they don't care about their body counts. They don't care about how they spend their time. They don't think about the future in the slightest. But let me tell you, these are the women which in 10 years' time will be crying on TikTok why they are single. These are the women who will end up alone with cats and boxed wine. And this is why, as a parent, you should talk with your kids about this, so they don't end up being a miserable hag who is alone and is going to be alone forever, like this 50-year-old that was lying about her age on dating apps that we covered on last video. It's so important. It's so important to have conversations with kids about this, because it's natural for them to start being interested in that. And you should tell them, you should not lock them in the house. You're not going to see other boys. No, it's just have a conversation with them. Tell them what are important things. That's it. Let them decide. Let them figure it out on their own. And let me tell you another thing, guys. When I was younger, I also had that period where I was dumb, and I was talking to a woman, about dumb things. I was just being dumb. And my father happened to see those texts where I was chatting with women. Really cringe moment. I won't go into detail, but he happened to see them. So what he did is he had a conversation with me, and he told me, Iran, dating and S3X and love and all this is like fishing. Whatever you put as a bait determines the fish that you will get. If you put this bait, you'll get these sort of fish. If you put this other bait, you'll get these other sorts of fish, right? And he told me, if on the hook you put stupid conversations and S3X and superficial things, what you're gonna get is a superficial woman, a stupid woman, and a woman who only cares about sex. And he told me, do you want that? And of course, I thought, no, I don't want that. He told me, if on the hook you put your morals, you put your principles, you put a good behavior, you're gonna find a woman who is interested in those things, right? And a lot of women are doing this behavior where you go on their Instagram and all their bio is just pictures of them on bikinis and showing their arses and showing their breasts and being dressed provocatively. And then they say, why do men see me as an object? Why does this happen? I have such a profound personality, but they only want me for S3X. Well, it's everything you show, you know. And for men, it's like posting on your bio just pictures of fast cars and watches and stashes of money, and then saying, but why do people, you know, why do women only date me for my money? I want them to be dating me for my, you know, book tastes and my deep, profound personality. It doesn't work that way. Whatever you show yourself as is what you're gonna attract, and whatever you put on the bait is what you're gonna get. And all these women, guys, who put on the bait just their looks, and they put on fake up all the time to try to look more appealing, and they only care about the validation, the most superficial validation and attention that they can get from just showing their half-naked body to strangers. These women are gonna get these type of men, you know, because men know what they want and what they can get. Men know the first minute if a woman is serious material or, you know, just practice material, recreational purpose material. They know that. So if as a woman you do this behavior that we've watched on this video, just a woman all the time having situations, I don't care where this is going, I don't care what happens, you know, I just need validation, this is what I put on the bait, my looks, I want attention and I want validation. Well, what man are you going to get? The same man that you're chasing after. And I'll end my rant here, gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Leave me your thoughts about this conversation that we had. I hope you found it interesting and didn't get asleep halfway through. But yeah, in resume, just remember, guys, that whatever you put on the bait is what you're going to get. Nowadays, as a man, it's difficult. You can put on the bait your morals, your principles, your religion, your commitment. And yes, 99% of women won't value it. But as I mentioned, guys, just be yourself and be true to yourself. It doesn't matter if women don't value it. In the end, you live for yourself. You don't live for how women appreciate you or do not appreciate you. Just be yourself. Be who you want to be. And if you never find someone who's going to appreciate that, at least you're gonna end your life the way you wanted it to be, the way you want it to be, instead of accommodating to this culture where you're expected to be, you know, the most superficial being there is, where women are gonna farm you for your validation and attention, and are not gonna care about anything else. And if you happen to be a parent, just know that you can have conversations with your kids. They're not stupid. They will understand you, and it's up to them to make the correct choices. But a lot of women, just because they have bad parents, it's so much harder for them because they have no direction, they have no boundaries, they have absolutely no moral standing, you know, backbone, a pillar that they can rest on. It's just they're left on their own. And when they're left on their own, it's the culture that teaches them. And we live in a culture that is trash. We live in a culture that is, oh yeah, sleeping around is so empowering, it's the best thing you can do. Well, we've seen what that leads to. The S3X revolution was 50 years ago. We see what it leads to. Higher divorce rate, women being extremely entitled, both men and women not finding anything to be doing on dating apps other than hook around. The STDs have grown, you know, in numbers. It's just, we see what having no rules and no boundaries regarding S3X leads to. But guys, I'll finally shut up. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.